There are a lot of things that can slow you down when learning Japanese, so let's go over 5 of them here. Number 1 is thinking that there's a perfect way to learn Japanese, and more importantly, beating yourself up when you cannot do it. So a great example of this is treating reviews like tests. There's a lot of people, whether it's, Anki decks or Native Shark decks or whatever it is, when they're doing their flashcard reviews, they are way too hard on themselves. The fact of the matter is, if you're reviewing something, you don't have to have it perfectly memorized. That's the point of a review. It's not a test, it's a review. It's like, hey, here's this thing so you don't forget it. It's not like, oh my God, I didn't recognize it. I need to hit the, yeah. So just take the reminder and move on. This is because studying wide is much more important than studying something deep. So you want to have an okay understanding of a lot of different concepts in Japanese versus a really, really deep understanding of like 3. Because really, if you don't understand the whole context that Japanese is in, you kind of can't understand anything deeply anyway. So as you start to get more wide in your studies, you have a wider knowledge. I'm like casting a spell over here. What am I doing? As you start to get just more exposure to Japanese, things are gonna click into place with time. Don't worry about it. And a plus side is the more Japanese you know, the easier it is to remember new Japanese. So just learn a lot. Number 2 is not habitizing your studies. So if you show up consistently, you are much more likely to succeed in learning Japanese than someone who doesn't. Personally, I've found habit tagging to be really helpful. Habit tagging is when you tag on learning Japanese to something else that you do normally, like every day. When I started, for me, it was pressing the power button on my computer. So I pressed the power button and I studied Japanese for an hour. There was no exceptions to that rule. I very rarely broke it, and it really helped me stay consistent. Nowadays, I just do it when I wake up because I feel weird when I don't do it. Do keep in mind though, even if you're not consistent, you still can succeed with Japanese. It will just take a little bit longer. Basically, just the more you show up, the more you can make progress. So you kind of have to do what works in your life. If it's not high priority, then you're going to miss some days. That's okay. If it is high priority, then try to habit tag. And another important thing is don't be afraid to adjust both up and down of your study time and how many days you can show up based on your current situation. We're all human. We got different stuff going on. It's okay. Number 3, ignoring kanji. So perhaps obviously learning to read is part of learning a language. And learning a language takes time, which means learning to read takes time, especially with Japanese. So what I suggest with this is learning with kanji as soon as you possibly can. And kanji are like the set of 2,000 plus characters. It's not like your normal alphabet. Just takes time, just like the rest of Japanese. So make sure you get exposure to it. Don't try to do like only kana. I mean, it's not like harmful, but you're gonna progress much faster if you just have kanji right from the get-go. Have something with hiragana that will really help as well. At the start, kanji only is probably going to be pretty time consuming, but it's really helpful because there are a lot of same words in Japanese. So when you have the kanji and you're looking it up, especially when you don't have a full grasp of the language, it's much easier to know which one is the correct definition versus if you're only using kana, you kind of can't know. Number 4, using bad resources. Stop using textbooks. You have to learn with something that teaches you what people actually say. Otherwise, you're setting up a wall of unrealistic expectations that are just gonna give you so many headaches down the line, and you're just gonna feel so hopeless sometimes when you could just learn with a resource that doesn't do that to you. By the way, I'm very passionate about this particular topic because I lived it. I had been studying for 5 years. I passed the JLPT N1, and I couldn't understand what the simplest sentences were. I would be at someone's house and they would ask me hey, can you take out the trash? Can you put away those spoons? I had no idea what they were saying. And I would be like, nante? Anyway, in my experience, Native Shark is the only resource that I've seen that actually does this. And they teach you the difference of textbook grammar, which is perfect grammar that nobody actually says in real life, except maybe newspapers, and everyday grammar. So you get both with Native Shark, and it tells you which one is which, versus grammar textbooks, they just teach you this one thing and don't even tell you the whole other side of the language that's actually used that exists. And I'm sick of it. I mean, just check out this sentence on Native Shark. If that didn't make sense to you, If that sentence didn't make sense to you, all you need to do is just log into Native Shark, press the Study Now button until you see that sentence. And you will understand it once you get there because Native Shark teaches you things concept by concept. So no Japanese goes over your head. And all of that Japanese is taught how people actually speak it. And when it's not, they tell you. I have an affiliate link and a coupon down in the description. The first 50 people to use that coupon get $60 off their annual sub, and it stays that way when you renew. Honestly, it's the only core resource I use anymore, and I'm learning new stuff with it every day. Here, I'll have like my daily studies kind of going on here as well. Like this was my most recent day of studies. Like you don't see sentences like that in any other resource. Number 5. Being active, but not productive. Y'all about to get called out. Did you study today? If you did, you get a pass. If you didn't, why are you watching this video? In order to learn Japanese, you have to learn Japanese, not learn about learning Japanese, which is what this video does for you. Of course, there is a balance to this. Like if you're getting set up with your studies, you don't know what to do yet. Of course, learning about learning Japanese is helpful. Once you're past that point, and probably most of you are if you're watching this video, you should be studying first and then learning more about learning Japanese. Like kind of only learn about learning when you're maybe bored, it's some extra random free time, you're kind of studied out for today, you no more room in the brain. So yeah, if you haven't studied, I'm gonna go let you do that now. If you did study today, go check out this video about getting consistent in learning Japanese and habit tagging. If you didn't study today, go do that. Don't watch that video. Go study. Maybe watch it after, who cares? Okay, happy studies.